It's interesting, right? Because LSU and 318 have been the greatest of allies at times. And maybe during the Miles there, it kind of started to fall off a bit. Coach O started to bring some of that back. But you've kind of witnessed a lot of this firsthand, Joe. You know that era. You put together some excellent recruiting classes at La Tech, a lot of featuring players out of that era. What does that portion of the state mean to LSU if y'all want to be, who you want to be?
No, I think the entire state is critical. I mean, when you start talking about all the great players that have played at LSU, that have come from Louisiana, it's not just players from Baton Rouge. It's not just players from New Orleans. It's not just players from the Lafayette, Lake Charles, Acadiana area. It's throughout the state. I mean, just as recently as you look at what Devin White did while he was down here. I mean, I think probably going to go down as one of the better LSU football players of all time. Just with his career and what he's done, and I think his impact and his personality and everything else. So it's critical that we're LSU. We are the state school, and this is a big state, and there's a lot of different parts of it, and every piece is critical to our success.
And when you're talking about on the football field, Joe, there is no more piece more critical in that quarterback position. And I want to ask you who's going to start, because obviously we don't know yet, right? But I will ask you the same thing that I asked Coach Denbrock. As this position battles, you enter camp with a position battle like this, what do these guys have to do if they want to win their job? Like, what are the parameters and the metrics that you are looking at to see who will be LSU starting quarterback?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We'll use some I guess some data and some stats and grading systems and things like that. But I mean, I think ultimately it's who gives us the best chance to win, who protects the football, makes good decisions, and then gives us an opportunity to win by making plays themselves. So I think that combination, and that'll be evaluated in multiple different ways. And then I think who carries themselves the right way as the LSU quarterback. That's a big role. That's a big task, and you have to do things the right way. And I think all those things are going to be evaluated. I've been thrilled and excited by the way these guys have carried themselves, the way they've worked, the way they've prepared, kind of what they did this spring, and then how they've worked this summer. So I'm excited to watch them work, and there'll be some tough decisions ahead. And we'll make sure that we evaluate it to the absolute best that it possibly can be.
Coach, when you have more than two guys that are in a quarterback battle and you've got a very talented room, is there a timeline on when you want to get down from 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1? Like, is there something y'all have already laid out saying, hey, by the time we get to this point in camp, we'd like to have a starter?
Yeah, not specifically. I mean, I think part of it is when things start to separate themselves. But as both y'all know, as we get into practice, there's only so many practices before we get to the season. So we got to get the guys ready, and we got to get the quarterback position ready. And there's only so many reps to go around. So obviously there will be some different timetables on that. Nothing specific, and I think some of that's a little bit fluid, but there's no doubt about it. It's important, one, that ultimately, as we go out there on the field, we're prepared at that position to perform, and that comes with reps and preparation. So there's no doubt about that.
And Joe, I want to talk about you a little bit, because you've got a pretty interesting story as well. Your alma mater is East Carolina. You're from Chester, Virginia, from what I've read. You spent a decade at La Tech, this last decade, a very successful decade, right? 9 years, 7 bowl appearances, some really prolific offenses during that time as well. So how did you catch on with a guy like Brian Kelly? Can you kind of take us through that process? Obviously, Coach Kelly, one of the kind of legends of the game, also been a very good scout of coaching talent throughout his career. And make no mistake, when he showed up here, right, he was looking for the pieces that he's going to carry forward with him into this future. How did you end up winning that job?
Absolutely. No, I just, every day I walk in, I mean, I think this is just such an unbelievable opportunity. It's such a special place. I was saying to somebody the other day, think everyone in the country understands LSU football, but I think after my time living in Louisiana, you really start to understand what makes it special. I think you understand what makes this state special: the loyalty, the camaraderie, the community ties of this state, and how people have that pride. And I think that carries over to this program, and I think that's why you've seen it be successful year in, year out, with different personnel and different people in the leadership state. So, I mean, I think, as I look, as you alluded to, just what type of program this is. But as I was at Tech and obviously had the opportunity, because of being in Louisiana, to create some relationships here across the state. So I think that probably put me in the game. But then Coach Kelly had, we have met before. We have some mutual friends maybe that I had coached with, or some people who knew me and maybe knew a little bit about what I was about as a professional and as a person, and felt like it was a fit. And then we had the opportunity to hop on the phone a couple times and for an extended period of time, and really, I think in alignment with a lot of our beliefs at the quarterback position, but a lot of our beliefs overall in development of college football players. And then, having the opportunity to sit down and meet with him in person, it seemed like it, he wasn't nervous. I guess I probably was. But definitely, I think as we came out of it, it seemed that we were definitely had the same beliefs and same goals and same vision for that position. So, and then after that, I mean, when he did offer me the job, it's just such a dream come true for me and my family, and my wife's from here, from Louisiana, and for the opportunity to continue to be in Louisiana, but then at LSU and be working in LSU football, man, there's nothing better in the world.
Yeah, so what's that like? I mean, because you were in Ruston for 9 seasons, which in college football coaching, that's an eternity to stay somewhere for 9 seasons. And then you get
a long time.
Yeah, and you get an opportunity to stay in state and go to LSU, but then there's work to be done when you get to LSU, right?
Yeah.
The roster, we all kind of know what it looked like. So you've been here, about 7 months now. Have you had time to even kind of sit back and reflect on the job, or has it been kind of fast forward ever since you've gotten here?
Well, I mean, I think whenever your staff's in the first year, there's just so many things that you're setting into place, right? Yeah. So, it's definitely in overdrive. There's no doubt about that. Maybe these last couple of weeks, there was probably a little bit of an opportunity to take a slight breath. Maybe not as much as some normal years. After you get a little bit more settled in. I was really fortunate. We had some unbelievable talented guys in the quarterback room, and then we were able to do a couple different things, and getting Miles back and adding Jaden. And I think so I was probably fortunate at that side, but I think it's definitely been, what Coach Kelly's been able to do getting here, and then the emphasis on, and I think the major emphasis he made was getting guys from Louisiana who were in the portal, and getting those guys back to help supplement that roster and maybe some situations that we were in. And I think that's been the emphasis. I think everybody saw that. And I think that just reiterated what his belief is for this program. And I think what a lot of people who followed LSU football for a long time understand what's made LSU great consistently is it's built on Louisiana, and I think, we were really fortunate. There were some guys who wanted to come be a part of that. So that was fun, but there is no doubt about it now. It's been an overdrive.
Yeah. Coach, how do you approach a camp like this where you have a lot of talent in that room? It's a varied talent, which is pretty interesting, right? It's almost like a Three Little Bears, very passy, very runny, maybe a mixture of the two. So like just right? But no, but as you approach practice reps, how do you kind of tailor things to different skill sets so that you can get the view of, like you alluded to earlier, who gives you the best chance to win?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of probably has been made about that, just in terms of maybe some of the different skill sets. I think ultimately quarterback's a decision-making position, and there probably are a couple things physically that maybe one guy does a little bit better than the other. But I think it's going to come down to making decisions. Yeah. And in terms of, Coach Denbrock's going to make sure that we put not just the quarterback, but also our entire offense and using our entire group of personnel and putting those guys in the best position to be successful so that we can attack defenses. So I think that fit part will just kind of naturally happen. I'm not as concerned about that. I want to see them go out and execute the plays they're asked to execute in that moment. And then I think as we get more towards the season, obviously we'll put guys definitely in the best position to be successful. But I don't know that it's like, there's offense A over here and offense B over here and offense C over here. And, it's not as much like that. It's going to be the LSU offense and Coach Denbrock and Coach Kelly and what they believe is our best chance as an overall team. So I think we'll be good that way. No doubt about it. But that's a definite important question. And these guys got to go out and show that they can get it done.
Coach, you mentioned a new coaching staff. Obviously, we've talked about it throughout the interview. And last one for me, are you going to be up in the booth? Are you going to be down on the field? Have y'all had those conversations yet? Because obviously you've got a ton of coordinator experience, which I'm sure you were up in the booth. Do you prefer one or the other?
There's benefits to both. It's definitely fun being down there with the players, and just the emotion of the game. And there's that piece there. When you're on the field, it's more about, I think, helping them through the emotion of the game, what their thought process is. And because you can feel that, you can feel that down there. So you can make adjustments with guys. You can look them in the eye. So there's a lot of benefit to that. Up in the booth from a schematic standpoint, you take out the emotion. Well, some of it, you take out a lot of it. So maybe you're able probably to just have a little bit clearer head and you're able to lay a lot of things, maybe lay a lot more things out in front of you that you can reference. So I think there's benefits to both. In the spring, I was up, but whatever Coach Denbrock, Coach Kelly decide, they can put me wherever they want. I'll make sure that I help to the best of my ability, no matter where that is. But I think there's definitely positives to both. And I think whatever role, and that goes for whether it's on game day in the box or on the field or in practice or whatever role you have, whatever role that you need to have within the organization, man, and just take it and make sure that you do that to the absolute best of your ability. That's what I've loved being here. And I'm so fortunate and really excited about learning from Coach Kelly. I was around, I worked for one coach, one head coach, Chip Holtz, for a long time. And he was unbelievable and treated me and my family so well. And I guess really, I probably was basically become part of the family there. So that was interesting, but then have the opportunity the first time I'm stepping away from him to have the opportunity to work for Coach Kelly and learn all the different things. I think the way he set up his program over time, and the organization he has, the development structure, how he approaches things, man, it's been awesome. It's been fascinating. He's so brilliant. He's an excellent communicator, and he does a really good job of telling you what your role is, what he expects from you, and then letting you go do it. And it's been fun to watch.
I mean, and that's something that we can all take into whatever our jobs are today. That advice right there. Coach Joe Sloan, new LSU quarterbacks coach. Season right around the corner. Let's go, dude. You have a great day, man. Thank you so much for giving us some time this morning.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, take it easy, Coach. Funny, man. It's becoming a very common refrain with Brian Kelly. It's like what Clark Lee basically said at SEC Media Days. When we get back, let's close out hour number 1 of OTB.